undo it. You can't just. I guess that's so the psycho ex-wives can't.
This is a public service.
Block and unblock.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, listen. Here's what I well, anyway, I don't even know if you got it, so it doesn't matter. All right.
But I'm not. But what I'm not hearing, Rich, what I'm not hearing you say is, what I'm not hearing you say is, Brandon fucked up. He was not authorized to do that, and I fucked up because I'm his supervisor, and I was supposed to say, we can't do that. Let's pump the brakes.
Well, if there's questions about that, all that needs to be hashed out. And all I'm saying is I'm doing, like I told you, every other time, I'm doing what I think I need to do.
Bro, you're talking in circles. You fucking grown-ass man.
No, I'm not. No.
You're talking in circles.
You got to understand, especially since you're threatening.
Answer the question then. Answer the question. What reasonable, because you're court security, ARS 12299, you can only detain somebody with a reasonable cause. It's right in your law. The law that authorizes you to carry a badge and a gun says under reasonable cause, you can detain until you pass me to law enforcement. What reasonable cause did Brandon have to ask me to put my hands behind my back?
I've already told you that is not a discussion I'm going to have with you
the question.
At this point.
What was the reasonable cause that Brandon said, Lane, put your hands behind your back, and then he kept saying, I'm going to grab you if you don't do it right now? That's a threat of assault. That's battery. What was he, when he was saying, put your hands behind your back or I'm going to grab you, what was he enforcing? And when was he going to pass me to law enforcement to charge me with the crime that he had reasonable cause to detain me for?
All right.
Because I wasn't taken to the jail by law enforcement.
No, you were not. The corrections officers came and took you to the jail.
On your
Absolutely
direction.
Right.
The corrections officers had no authority to put me in that fucking van. They kidnapped me in a dark van, and I'm going to have suffering for the rest of my life. I had to fucking go into the jail, into the thing, with a bunch of people puking all over the floor, coming off opiums and shit, because they couldn't figure out what to do with me, because the arresting officer, oh, wait, where's your officer? Tell him to take you out of here. You're not supposed to be oh, wait, they dropped you off and left? Oh, fuck, what do we do now? Oh, fuck, the court's closed already? Oh, fuck, it looks like you're staying the night in jail with no bond for no reason. I was never supposed to be on a van to the jail at any point. You called and ordered that. I watched you.
You watched me call and order you to go to the jail?
Brandon stood right there and ordered the fucking correction van to come pick me up, and you were on the thing too. As he was walking me back, as soon as we got behind the door, he started calling Pima Sheriff, roll one, we got one ready to go to the jail, all this shit. Who the fuck is Brandon Kimmel think he is that he can put my hands behind my back, walk me past that door next to Judge Ball, and start rolling the jail transport for me because I'm going to jail? Under what fucking authority was he called? What legal authorization did he have to talk into the microphone and ask corrections to come get me? None. My hearing should have kept going. The judge should have said, I'm finding you in contempt. And then he should have said, but because it's about a personal matter, you'll deal with this at a later date and time, which will come in your show cause order. Now, back to the hearing. Are you going to be able to behave, or am I going to have to remove you? See, Rich, what he should have did was said, you interrupted me, step outside for 5 minutes like Judge Griffin did. See, I've been testing this theory at every court.
We've discussed that before. Right. We've discussed that before.
That's what should have happened. Legally. Because I'm not required to be present except at sentencing. Okay? And so, why was it okay for Judge, the gay dude to fucking kick me out after 18 seconds and not let me back in? But it wasn't contempt. It wasn't contempt, right? He kicked me out of the hearing, but it wasn't. I was still in the Walmart parking lot in Durango, Colorado, right? I wasn't in the Pima County Jail. because he had the authority to kick me out because I'm not required to be there for interrupting him, disruptive conduct. But you can't get taken to jail for disruptive conduct. Direct criminal contempt is not a crime, and you cannot be taken to jail. And I've been studying this and been telling you guys this, that all you're going to do is if you try to grab me, I can defend myself. I've already fucking, I got all this shit ran by who I need to run it by. I'm telling you, I'm going to get, the jury's going to not, there's not going to be no jury. There's not going to be no charges for slamming Brandon on his head because he cannot, Brandon kidnapped me. That was a kidnapping. There's no legal doublespeak to talk your way out of it other than there's no, Brandon, what reasonable cause did you have to ask me to put my hand behind my back while you waited to hand me off with law enforcement so you could give them information of the crime I committed and they could charge me with it? That's the magic question. That's the $1 million question at this point. What reasonable cause did Brandon have to tell me to put my hands behind my back? And anybody who tries to say the judge, as soon as you say the judge, that's career suicide. You have to think for yourself. You're not law enforcement, okay? So you don't get to say you were just, the judge did not order you to take me into jail, okay? He said, I'm finding you in direct contempt. And if you listen to the hearing, even after he said that, he did not say, take him into custody, ever. So Brandon just assumed when he said contempt, that means arrest me and take me to jail. And you know what they say about assuming, right? It makes Lane Myers rich. So, I mean, I got shit to do with about 7 of these other trials now. But I look forward to getting that answer under oath in federal court. Brandon, what reasonable cause of a crime being committed did you have to ask Lane Myers to put his hands behind my back, put handcuffs on him, and transport him to the jail, okay? You know these things take time, so you'll have a lot of time to make up your lies. But I'm telling you right now, saying, well, the judge said, nope, that's not going to work. That's not admissible in court. Brandon saying, well, the judge said, nope, you might as well just resign now. The judge said, nope, sorry, that's not the free magic words. Brandon's not going to get to say the judge said, because what the judge said had nothing to do with jail or arrest. So he wasn't following an order from the judge either. Because the judge didn't say, I'm finding him in contempt, take him into jail. He said, I'm finding you in contempt, and Brandon ran up and grabbed me. The words, take him to jail, were never issued by Alexander Ball. We have the recordings. So my question is, why did I go to jail then if the judge didn't even order me to jail, and you're saying remanded into custody? The judge definitely didn't say take him into custody at any point. It's all public record. The judge did not say take him into custody. And why was I released? Why was I released? What conditions did I meet to be released? Why? What did the judge find? Where's the finding of fucking fact or anything to release me? Did they have an arraignment? Like what? Or did they realize, holy shit, what the fuck did we get ourselves into now? Why was I able to be released from the jail at 11:30 in the morning, but not able to finish my hearing and go home? What was the predetermined arbitrary line of, it's 11 a.m., he gets out now? What were the legal mechanisms that led to my release? There was no hearing. No hearing took place. I just woke up in jail the next day, and all of a sudden they said, you're going home. So what took place? What legal I didn't go in front. Everybody else got to go to court at 7 o'clock, but I didn't. I had to sit in there held with no bond. I should have at least had a bond. I could have paid my bond. Like last time when I got arrested going into court, they just paid my $200 bond and I was out right away. So why the fuck wasn't there bond this time? Because it was some bullshit, and you took me to jail on a charge you couldn't even take me to jail for. And then the document that the fucking court, the corrections officers took from the court to the jail was the court order. And the corrections officers are too stupid to read the minute entry down at the bottom that says criminal rule 35. Instead, they booked me on on the fucking charge of interfering, which I was at court for in the first place. So if I would have been at court for robbery, I would have got a new robbery charge. That's how fucking stupid you guys are. Then once they realized, whoa, he's supposed to be on here under Rule 35. He's not even supposed to be in here, but we can't just release him. It says hold with no bond. So now the jail's in a fucked up position too, going, what do we do with this guy? He's not supposed to be here. He's not supposed to be here. Why is he here? But there's no court date, and they're held with no bond. And now they're figuring out, so how did I get out? Why did I get released all of a sudden? Who made that decision? How did it come about? Nobody filed anything. My lawyer didn't do anything. Nothing. What changed? Why was I allowed to leave the dungeon all of a sudden?
Well, you got to know that that's not an answer that I can give to you because I have no clue.
Well, you wouldn't need to know if I wasn't there, right? But the answer you can give me is, what reasonable cause did Brandon Kimmel have to ask me to put my hands behind my back? What was the reasonable cause he had to detain me until the arrival of a law enforcement officer? What was the probable cause? What was the reasonable cause? It says it right in the law. It says reasonable cause. You're a court security officer. Brandon is a court security. He's not a law enforcement. He wasn't law enforcing any laws when he told me to put my hand behind my back. He wasn't enforcing any laws when he grabbed Anna either. Teapot wasn't. And so there's no law enforcement there's no laws being enforced here. There's assaults taking place, okay? There's kidnappings. There's unlawful imprisonments. He had no fucking lawful authority to grab Anna either. So it's just like, you guys are just doing whatever the fuck you want. And so what is the reasonable cause, though? Like, you have to answer this under oath. A court security officer in the performance of the officer's duty may do all of the following with reasonable cause. With reasonable cause, Lane, detain a person on the premises for reasonable time to contact the law enforcement and maintain the safety and well-being of a person who is in a judicial facility on judicial branch or where the court is convening. So what was the reasonable cause to detain me for a reasonable time to contact law enforcement? I was a reasonable time overnight in fucking jail? Has he contacted law enforcement yet? Reasonable time, I'd say that's 10 minutes, the court said. After 10 minutes, you're arrested. So what's a reasonable time? 30 hours in Pima County Jail? It doesn't say a certified court officer with reasonable cause can put you in jail for 30 hours with no charges. There's no charges. I wasn't charged with anything. Charges, you get charged with crimes. You get cited for infractions. You get cited for contempt. It's a citation. A citation. It's not a bookable. It's not an arrestable. It's nothing. It's a citation. Like you get when you go 10 over the speed limit. You get a citation to appear at justice court. That's what it is. I need a citation to appear for a contempt trial at justice court. It has nothing to do with this case. It's not part of this case. It's a separate contempt charge. It's a new charge. Criminal contempt. You're being cited for criminal contempt. I'm finding you in contempt. That's what he said. And then he said Rule 35.4, which means I'm no longer finding you in contempt. I'm going to allow somebody else to determine if you committed contempt or not. at a different date and time. And you do have the right to a jury trial and all that, blah, blah, blah. And you'll find out. Now, back to this hearing while we're here. And so not only did I get taken to jail, but I didn't get to have my hearing and move on my motions to dismiss that I planned to. So you interfered with my U-turn. Like I didn't get to enforce into the disclosure that the state was supposed to turn over all their disclosure before that deadline or that hearing. And if they didn't, I was supposed to bring it up at the hearing and Judge Ball would enforce it. Okay. Well, I never got the chance to enforce my Rules 15 in the U-turn case. I never got a chance to make my motion to dismiss for lack of probable cause. And then I got to sit in jail for 30 hours for nothing. No charge. So how is that not a direct and coordinated attack on Lane Myers' liberty and due process? And this is, remind you, this is the same court date, same court shit where they arrested me going into court to interfere with my judiciary hearing. So how is what Brandon did any different than what U of A police did by arresting me before my hearing and I couldn't even finish the hearing? If you were going to arrest me for something, it would have been after the hearing, not in the middle of it. And you're telling me, yeah, justice is delayed is justice denied. Well, that's what I'm telling you. You're saying, oh, you'll get it in due time. And I'm saying justice delayed is justice denied. We're done past that, bro. I'm done waiting, okay, for justice and liberty and due process. I'm going to get due process as soon as I walk in the door, okay? From the time I walk in the door to the time I leave, I'm going to get due process and I'm going to get the laws followed. And if a certified court security officer and the performance of the officer's duties may do all the following. It doesn't say with reasonable cause, take a person to jail with no charges for 30 hours. So that means that's an assault and kidnapping. It's not even an unlawful arrest because you don't have arrest powers. So
I was going to go out for 10 seconds and then come back on. So say whatever you can say.
Tell him to wait a second.
He is.
You're telling him we need to save?
The power's about to go for 10 seconds, so you need to save your power.
My power's about to go out or something.
It'll come back on, but you need to save it.
All right. Yeah. All right. He can do it. Fuck. But anyways.
If you're telling me you got to go, that's okay. But Lane, listen. I've listened to all that you've had to say, and then
it should have never happened. It should have never happened.
Well, okay. If that is, then I'm not gonna repeat myself, right?
Well, aren't you guys trained on contempt?
Well, it is a rather obscure part of what we do. I think
best to err on the side of caution, no, Dick?
Wouldn't it be better to wait, though, and be like, let's make sure we're doing this by the book?
Yeah,
we looked at, we stood right there. You stood there. I was in handcuffs when we were looking at the book. So I was standing there in handcuffs while we were looking at the book, and you didn't say, this ain't right. Why didn't you say, wait a second, let's make sure we're doing this by the book? Because I've been 30 years. I want to make sure that when I go home at night, I can say, I did it by the book, and it's in Lane, it's on you, the book says, but you can't because there's nothing in the book that justifies what happened to me.
All right. All I will say about any of that is at the appropriate time, I will answer all of that.
Well, what's inappropriate about now? This is about owning mistakes, right?
It's the source of litigation, right? Come on, I don't. Again, anything I say now, I don't want to. I know,
but why?
I don't want to feed this fire.
Why do we have to be in this position, though? Why do we have to be in this position where now you got to be careful what you say because of the lawsuit and all this shit? But why do we have when the whole point was to run an orderly court? The end game here for you as court security is to have court go as smooth as possible, right? So instead, you falsely arrested Lane Myers, and your other guy assaulted Anna and fucked her thumb up, okay? So now she's got a fucked up thumb with sprains in her ligaments and shit because he tried to put her in some kind of fucking jerk her arm behind her back bullshit. And fucking, for what? For what? So how does this benefit order at the court? Now you got people pissed off when they come down there.
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea that's the case.
I mean, you're making people emotionally, invested in what happens to me now. People are like, they're fucking literally kidnapping this dude out of court. We all got to go down there, and they're going to have to take all of us because I'm not letting him go to jail alone. So, I mean, what are we going to do? You guys going to pull your guns out or what? Because, like, if you touch us, we're going to touch you, and then what? And you're old and slow. So, like, now your only last resort is your gun. And now how does this benefit any of us?
Well, anything that you just outlined does not benefit anybody. I'll concede that to you.
And it's all within the law. You guys can pull your guns out and we can defend ourselves against unlawful because you're not law enforcement. So if you pull your gun out on me, you're way out of bounds. That's a direct threat on my life. That's felonious assault. If Brandon tells me to put my hands behind my back, I don't, and he grabs my arm and I slam him off the ground and he pulls his gun out on me, now I can use lethal force against him. Because I'm trying to protect myself from a kidnapping. He already assaulted me, and I removed the threat by slamming him off the ground, and now he should have retreated, okay? After I slammed Brandon off the ground for unlawfully touching me, he should stand up and walk away knowing he can't, but we know that he's going to jump up and come back at me, and now I can defend my life, life. Now we're here. Now I'm defending my life because I already removed the threat once, okay? I gave the attacker a moment to reconsider when I dropped him to the ground, okay? And then he stands back up and comes back at me. He didn't get the message the first time. Now I can take his life legally. And how does that benefit any of us?
Well, none of that benefits anybody.
I mean, a man with a gun and handcuffs attacking me is a life-threatening situation that I can use lethal force. Now, if he comes up and tells me to put my hands behind my back, and I don't, and he grabs my arm and goes to put him behind my back, and I turn around and punch him in the chin and knock him unconscious, that's equal force. That's the force majeure doctrine, or not majeure, excuse me, but there's a level of force doctrine type thing where, like, if he grabs my arm, I can't shoot him, okay? No. But if he grabs my arm and I push him off my arm, or I get him off me in a force that's relative to his force of trying to put my arm behind my back, that's good. That's he grabs me, I grab him. He does more to me, I do more to him. It's force escalation, okay? So I have the authority to kill somebody in defense of my life under Arizona self-defense, okay? Brandon only has the authority to reasonably detain somebody with reasonable cause for a reasonable amount of time till a law enforcement officer arrives. Brandon can't pull out his gun and shoot me. I don't even know why he carries one, because he can't use it. And if he does, then if he pulls his gun out on me, I can kill him.
All right, Lane. I don't want to. Let's not go too much further down this road. I'm not gonna argue. Counterpoint to your argument. All right.
I know, because there isn't one. There isn't one.
Well, okay. All right. Whether there is or isn't is immaterial. All right.
Well, telling me to put my hands behind my back for contempt is not a life-threatening situation that authorizes him to pull his gun out. So if he puts his hand on me and I get his hand off me and then he uses more force against me, then I can escalate the force. And if he thinks he can do whatever he's got to do, I can do whatever I got to do. And only one of us is protected by law, me. Because he had no lawful authority to put his hands on me in the first place.
All right, this is a rabbit hole we don't need to go down.
No, we actually do, Rich. We need to go down this because all other remedies are off the table at this point. You guys, we're at the line. We are at the line now. We were beating around the bush. Now it's we're coming there. We are prepared, and I need you guys to be prepared that there's more room for negotiation. There's no room for goodwill. There's no room for benefit of the doubt. There's no room for, hey, man, can I talk to you for a second? There's no room for negotiation. We are at the line. You are on one side of the line, and we are on the other.
I understood that. I understand that that's where you're at. I get it.
We're at the line.
Right? I don't.
And then I watched Brandon try to force them off the property in front of the court. And then I had to look up your stupid fucking order about the steps and all that shit. Well, we're just going to file a lawsuit on that now, a TRO. And we're going to get a TRO that says we can walk around and film, okay, on the steps, okay? And so now we're going to stand out there with signs that say, fuck Judge Ball. What are you going to do? You can't come out and tell us to leave. And if you do, and you think you can tell, because I watched him trying to say criminal trespassing against those guys as the reason. It's not fucking criminal trespassing in a public building, okay? First of all. And second of all...
Wait, hang on. Let me say something about that. You are correct in that we would not permanently trespass somebody from a public building. That's true, right?
No, but he was trying to say they had to leave. He tried to say, I listened to the whole thing. I'm done listening to your fucking excuses. I watched the whole thing with my own eyes.
Okay.
He told them they had to leave, and they didn't have to leave. There was no reason they had to leave, okay? You're violating your own You're violating your own administrative orders at Justice Court. Okay, you're violating your own administrative orders.
If I've listened to everything you've had to say, and it's obvious you don't want to hear anything that I have to say, which
because
is
it's
okay.
all bullshit and excuses. Everything I'm saying is 100% true and versed in the law. You guys are fucking down there making it up as you go, and now I've exposed it, and we're all going to come down there with a piece of paper in our hand that says what we can and can't do and what you can and can't do, and everybody's going to be informed. If the court security crosses this line, punch them in the face, and we're all going to be ready for that. So don't cross that line, and you won't have nothing to worry about. That's how this works, Rich. Your laws versus our laws. Oh, we can't stand on the steps? Well, then do something. Put your hands on me and find out what'll happen. Oh, direct criminal contempt? Put your hands behind your back? Put your fucking hands on me and see what'll happen. I'm not violent, and I don't assault people, but I do defend myself. You notice there's none of them on there? Right, because it's called self-defense. So I know what you can and can't do, and I know Brandon could have got punched in the mouth. So that was the one free one. That's the point we're trying to tell you. You got us. Yep, you caught us off guard. We had all our equipment with us and shit. We weren't ready to go, but I'm telling you that you're gonna have Antifa standing in your courtroom. And you brought it on yourself. I had 10,000 subscribers. I got 1,000 subscribers while I was in jail overnight. It's only going to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and more people are going to see what's happening to me. who have less fucking emotional control than me, and they're gonna come down there, and you know how people go when they fucking are half stupid and they get fucking, they see something happen to somebody and they want, look at the January 6th thing where they all stormed the Capitol. Nothing happened to any of those people. They just got themselves so worked up they thought it was a good idea to do something stupid. I'm not one of those people, but I know there's a lot of people like that out there who might see what's happening to me and decide, you know what, I'm sick of what's happening to Lane, and I'm gonna go fuck. Not because Lane caused or told them to, Judge Griffin, but because they're sick of fucking seeing this shit happen to anybody. Nobody wants to watch Lane Myers get fucking kidnapped out of court by court security. And there's people with less shit to lose than me. I'm going to go pay fucking homeless people in the wash $20 to come to court wearing a Tucson Police Suck shirt. That's what you're getting now. That's what I'm going to use my GoFundMe for, to transport homeless people to court with me, all wearing a Tucson Police Suck shirt. Also, they can get a lawsuit too. Because that's where we're at, Rich. You guys fucking had 4 months to understand the situation. You stood by and watched me get fucked around on motions, on court dates, on arraignment dates, and all this shit, and I never took it out. I never took my problems with the judges out on the judge, none of that shit. I'd call you and bitch about it because I didn't want to cause a scene in the fucking courtroom. Well, now I'm taking up all my complaints with the judge directly. In my manner. No third parties, nope. They're going to have to hear from me directly. And I'll get a new contempt charge at every fucking court date. But I won't be arrested. Because now I know you can't arrest me for contempt. And now I'll get contempt. And I'll get a jury trial. And I'll put the judge that gives me contempt under oath while broadcasting live on my fucking YouTube channel for the whole world to listen to me question Judge Ball now. Do you think Judge Ball thought that through? Because now I get to ask him about his website and why he took it down all of a sudden. So make sure you go back and tell court administration they better you get the biggest that the judge my contempt hearing. They might need to link 2 courtrooms together because it's going to be standing room only. There's going to be a line around the block for my jury trial with Judge Ball. You know, we're gonna make sure that the whole world sees me question Judge Ball under oath for my direct criminal contempt under Rule 35.4 that I was taken to jail for. Is that what you guys want down there? A circus?
No, it certainly isn't.
It's not a circus down there, is it, Rich? It's a court of law. Right? And it's a court of fucking law, and it's been turned into a circus by Lane Myers. Because if Lane Myers didn't have bogus charges, Lane Myers wouldn't have a court date. Lane Myers wouldn't have to sue Stacy. Lane Myers wouldn't have to sue you. Lane Myers wouldn't have to fucking take a trial with Judge Ball. That's just more court dates. That's more court dates. Thank you. Love you. That's just more court dates with me and Lane Myers and his nonviolent army. More more attention, more fucking, more spectators, more everything. And your buddies across the street are trying to use it against us already too. So, and
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's shit's hitting the fan at all the courts now. Now no judge in Tucson can be impartial to Lane Myers. It seems like. So, not really sure where we go from here.
Well, here's what I'll tell you, all right? And you know that I can't answer specific questions, but I will tell you the same thing I told you way back when, regardless of what's happened in the middle, right? Whatever justice you have coming or anybody else has coming, I have no issue with that at all.
I know.
I really don't. I never have, and I still don't. And whatever
You didn't put the handcuffs on me.
Whatever accountability I have, right, wrong, or indifferent, then I will stand for. I don't know if you saw. Did you even see when you texted me before I knew that you blocked me on Friday? I texted you back. Did you even get a chance to read that?
No.
Or did you even get it? Because I figured you because it came up green, right?
Nope.
All right. Well, okay.
Nope.
Then all I will say is if you read what I said before, everything that's happened since Friday has happened. I'm telling you the same thing right now. All right. If I was wrong, I see where you're coming from. If I'm wrong, I'll take my lumps. But none of that prevents me from making sure, to the extent that I'm able, that whatever these courts that you need to have access to, that you get what you have coming to you as not just as Lane Myers, but as anybody, as any citizen has access to. And I know that probably sounds like BS, and I don't mind you even calling me out for saying it's BS. But see, you got to understand, you can do and say whatever you want, right? And I don't have that. I don't have that luxury, and nor do I necessarily need to have it. I am more than happy to let this happen, and when it's my turn, and I'm asked or required to say something, or I have no problem doing it. But I'm just not in a position now where it benefits anybody. Like I said to Joey earlier, is he still there, by the way? I'm assuming he is, because he's... okay, all right.
I don't even know how I'm talking to you, honestly. It's some kind of fucking three-way thing or something.
All right, that's okay. I assumed he was still there. But I am not running for my accountability for anything. It's that simple.
But we still have to have. But Rich,
right?
This is what I'm trying to say is we have to. Like I still have court down there, so we have all this.
I know.
We have to fucking.
Lane, let me try to finish.
We can't let that. We can't let that shit affect my next court date and my next court date.
Let me try. Let me try to finish, please. All right, just let me try to finish. I honestly, I don't want to say I don't care because that's not true. But the fact that you're going to find it necessary to sue me and Brandon and everybody else does not change. What it changes is some of the things that I can actually discuss with you about the incident at hand. All right, but I will promise you. Right, I guarantee you, under my, that it will not impact anything else that needs to be done. And that you have what is entitled to you occur. That doesn't change any of that. It honestly doesn't. And I don't blame if you don't believe me or anybody else doesn't believe me. That doesn't matter to me, right? Because in the end, there's I might have to be accountable to you someday for all of this, but ultimately I'm only accountable to one person.
Right. Well, I'm saying is that I still got to come down there. So it wasn't like they took me to the dungeon and they never got to see me again.
Yeah, I know, Lane. Honestly, all right. I have never lied to you. I have never not told you what I believe to be true to the extent that I could discuss it with you. I've told you before, there's certain things that go on that I just can't discuss with you because there's rules and stuff about some of that stuff. So following the rules, you've understood that there's stuff I can't talk about, right?
Of course.
But I'm telling you. And I don't care if you believe it or not, but I mean, if you go back to the night that you called me about your...
You should care that I believe it or not, though.
About your wife being... Well, no, okay. Professionally and personally, it matters. But when I say I don't care, it's not going to... It doesn't matter. What I mean is I should say I don't care. It doesn't matter because it's not going to change what I do or how I do it.
I know. But it does matter.
No, well, you're right. It does matter.
Two things can be true. Two things can be true.
No, that's true. And again, So as long as I'm upholding my end of as long as I'm upholding what I can control, I can't control. There's only part of the scenario I'm in control of.
Well, I mean,
right?
I'm in there for a bench trial, and every time I go in there, I got security standing 2 feet behind me, making the judge think, what the fuck is this? Nobody else has security standing 2 feet behind them, 7 detectives and all this shit. It's like showing up in the orange jumpsuit. Might as well convict me before I even come in.
I don't control the detectives. You know that. I have no.
Why were they there?
Control over
Why
what
were they there? Why were they there?
Well, first of all, I think only 2 of them were actually detectives. A couple of the other ones were lawyers.
No.
There were. Okay. Let me put it to you this way. I don't know who all those people were. I know that 2 of them were detectives. When they said there was 7 people,
when they said there was 7 people, 7 cops, whatever. Yeah, they were including Samantha Walker and the fat guy lawyer as a cop. No, but there was 4 detectives in the back.
Well then, of course, I draw that distinction, right?
Right. There was 4 detectives.
Only 2 of them
there was
in
4
there.
detectives. There was 4 detectives.
No,
4 detectives. Fabian.
Okay.
There was Fabian and 3 other ones.
No. Fabian was not there. He wasn't there Thursday.
Then it was the guy that fucking Vasquez or whatever that looks. I'm telling you, those 4 detectives.
No. Lane, again, I'm not gonna. I can't debate that with you because there were only honest, and again, straight up, there were 2 of them there that I knew were detectives, and then there were 2 people in suits that were sitting in the gallery. 2 or maybe 3. I don't even remember.
You're talking about the woman. You're talking about the woman and the guy that I said get his badge number.
She is. You know who she is.
I know.
Right?
And you're saying the one I said get his badge number.
Sitting behind another guy. I didn't even hear any of that, so I heard about that after the fact. So for the sake of identifying him, I'll say yes, the guy that would do that. But I don't know any of that to be absolutely true, right? Because I wasn't there. I didn't see and hear that interaction. But those 2 are the only 2 that I believe were detectives.
Well, I saw 3. It doesn't matter though, because if they were there with the attorneys, they were there.
But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, I was certainly, I never. I mean, if I needed to be heavy-handed, right, that would be a little different. I have never found it necessary to be heavy-handed with you.
That's what I'm saying. Having them down at the end of the hallway, that's normal. Now having them in the fucking thing 2 feet away. Brandon was standing behind me.
As a matter of fact,
like I was about to kill the judge or something.
I told a couple of our guys in uniform that were nearby, I asked them to wait outside that day. And I've done it in the past. I'm like,
because it gives a bad impression. Why do we need all these securities in here for this guy? What is it about this guy that we need all these security? It gives a bad impression for the judge.
Part of it is okay. What is it?
Do they think I'm going to attack the judge? Do they think I'm going to attack Samantha Walker? Then why the fuck are they there?
Because if all of a sudden you start to assault Brandon when
you
Brandon
can't arrest me for contempt, so it doesn't matter if I'm in there.
I'm not going. Okay, Lane, that was that was not the best way to give an example, right? But that's not what I'm getting at.
That's because you're so fucking programmed. You're so programmed to just try to justify that shit. Fucking. So your examples are even your programming. Because you're like, oh, what if Brandon? Well, if I'm punching Brandon, Brandon, it's because I have a legal reason. I wouldn't attack Brandon without a legal.
I know that.
Self-defense. So why do we need all these armed guards in there? Why do we need all these armed guards in my courtroom when I've never attacked anybody in my life?
All right. I am not justifying. Let me say this first. I'm not justifying anything. What I've said is nothing. So I am not justifying anything. So I'm doing no such thing. All right?
We're out here today to ensure our natural rights are respected by those who swore an oath to support, protect, and defend the rights of the people. The purpose of all interactions is to peacefully promote government accountability and transparency. Please like, share, and subscribe so this message can reach as many people as possible. I implore you to peacefully seek redress to any and all of your grievances. This is a public service.